I shed some tears last night when a friend of mine was announced that he passed away. And we will obviously talk more about that as the show goes on. And what the Indianapolis Colts owner, Jim Irsay, has done for me, for this program, for the show, for the city, for everything is going to be tough to kind of break down and chit-chat about. But Jim Irsay left a legacy of compassion and give back that I think should be studied by everybody that ends up with any type of money or any type of success. He woke up every single day hoping to make the world a better place, making people happier. And I know life gets in the way sometimes, and I don't think he always got it right. And he certainly battled his demons. But God bless this man, Jim Irsay, in the way he wanted to treat other people, especially people that he knew. If you actually got to know Jim Irsay, you loved him. I wrote something on Twitter last night, and it took me a lot of attempts as I was watching the Indiana Pacers beat the New York Knicks in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Madison Square Garden with a comeback that hasn't happened in 1,414 games. As I was watching the great city of Indianapolis and the great state be represented, I was trying to talk about the greatest philanthropist in the history of this state in Jim Irsay. Finding the right words was not easy, because what could you say about a man who has literally been the owner of an NFL team since he was 37, the youngest general manager in the history of the league as a 24-year-old. He'd been around the game since he was a child. He basically chit-chatted about those Baltimore Colts locker rooms as being like his babysitters. He grew up in the locker room, always talked about cleaning and sweeping and hanging out and talking to the boys. There was a story that has come out that when he was 16 years old, after his dad said something to the effect about the guys being bums and not representing and sawed the team down, as a 16-year-old, he went onto the team bus and said, "Football is a team sport, let's never forget it," and cried and walked off. He was a consummate team guy. He loved those he was surrounded by. And if he had heard about anything that needed help, or he learned of any situation that could use a financial boost, he was writing a check or giving money quicker than any person in the history of existence. I don't know how they'll be able to track how much money he's given to people, causes, he just builds buildings here, just donates buildings to the city of Indianapolis, wings of hospitals, let alone all the things that just go not talked about. It has to be over $100 million. And then once he realized that he was able to make other people feel good with his good fortune and with the amount of money that he had, he started buying up things that he thought people would be interested in seeing. And then he wanted to figure out how he would tour this so that people could experience these once-in-a-lifetime things, from ancient 100-year-old things to the Beatles drum set that he felt obligated to buy, or Elvis Presley's guitar. He wanted people to experience it, not just him. He didn't want to just lock it up in a room and say, "Hey, I'm a rich guy, I got this." He would outbid other rich people so that the world could see the things that he found interesting. He toured the Jim Irsay collection around this country, around the world. I think he did a couple European stops. People got to see things that they never had. The giveaways that this man would invest time in and make imaginative and make it, entertaining for everybody. He dressed up as Willy Wonka and put a giveaway on for a Super Bowl ring for Colts fans. He loved making other people feel good. And I was very lucky that I got a chance to call him a friend. A lot of owners kind of view their teams as business. A lot of owners view their players as transactional. A lot of the suits in the NFL might not have the most amount of respect for players, because players are just stupid. But Jim Irsay grew up in a locker room. So he had compassion for the players, empathy for the players, and always had the players back. That's why every player that goes into the Hall of Fame that played for the Indianapolis Colts asks him to be the one that presents them into the Hall of Fame. We knew he had our back. We had his. He had his problems. A lot of people talk shit, but if you got to know him, he was one of the most brilliant, unique, and interesting humans to ever exist. I'll miss Jim Irsay, and you done good, buddy. You done good, man. He was awesome. He would come on this show anytime I asked him, no matter where he was. He came on my show in 2012, I think. I was doing a show at a local bar, and it was with Indy Star, the local newspaper, and it was on Twitter. And it was just an idea that I had, and Indy Star kind of pieced it together. And we'd have like 200 people come to this bar. It was chaos always, because there's people at the bar that aren't there for the show. Never do a show at a bar.
Yeah.
Okay, never do a show at a bar. Unless you're getting the whole bar. do not do a show at a bar, especially if there's like an audio component to it, because there's gonna be drunks at that bar who have no idea that your show is happening. So it was chaos every single week, chaos. We would have like half the bar, there'd be 100 people, 200 people there watching. It'd be an Indianapolis Colts recap show that I was doing, and it was solely for Twitter. It was solely for social media. And one of my first guests was Jim Irsay. And the reason was because he followed me on Twitter throughout the lockouts. So during the lockout time in the NFL, front office executives were barred from speaking to players, and players were barred from speaking with front office and executives. I actually worked out with the Columbus Crew during that time, and I thought I was going to make my soccer dream come true. I was way too out of shape. I mean, the coach told me I needed like probably 7-8 months to get back in shape, and I'll tell you what, I did not have that time. But the front office people weren't able to talk to the players, but there was ways to get around it. So like Bill Polian saw the news thing, and it was like me playing soccer, and he got a message to somebody, got a message to somebody, that got a message to somebody, that got a message to me, and I was like, hey, this lockout's not gonna be forever. You hurt yourself playing for the Columbus Crew. You would feel like a dipshit. I was like, who's saying, why are you saying, I don't talk to you that often? He goes, that's not from me. That is from, somebody high up. So there was like a real divide. Like, we aren't on the same team right now. And Jim Irsay followed me on Twitter during that time. I remember it happening because I was pretty dialed into my Twitter during that time. I would answer everybody. I would reply to everybody. I thought it was the greatest platform because you could connect with anybody, and you could kind of share yourself, and you could get creative with your words, and you can get creative with your thoughts, and you could reach people. And that's why I think X is so important. And I know there's a lot of shit on there, but there is stuff that happens on X that's magical as well. And Jim Irsay saw the same thing. He loved that platform. And he followed me throughout the lockouts. And then when the lockouts were over, we had training camp. And he arrived at training camp. We're up in Anson, Indiana. I was 280 pounds, maybe. I was so fat.
Have fun.
I had a lot of fun during that lockout. I had a lot of fun. I knew I had to tighten up, but I was not in my best shape. And, I'm at training camp doing my thing. And Jim Irsay gets there, and he's on his golf cart, and he does a beeline right over to me. And he and I did not have a relationship like that. After I got arrested, for public intoxication, definitely, allegedly swam in a canal. I was definitely publicly intoxicated. And that was a big moment, pivotal moment in my life. In the conversation I had with Jim Irsay after that, and the conversations I would have with him, he would come check on me, Like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? You good? But it was always like surface level conversations. Good. And then he would get out of there. Or have a conversation with Adam Vinatieri, who he loved. He absolutely loved Adam Vinatieri as well. So I was just kind of like a part of the conversation. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Any story? Good. And then he would talk to Vinatieri, obviously loved Vinatieri, and I was just cool. I was lucky to be, there's pictures of me, Vinny, and Jim talking, practice, everything like that. And then in 2011, after the lockout, Jim came and talked to me, and it was our first real extended conversation. And once you start listening to him, start brainstorming ideas, and you get to the bottom of what he really wanted to do. All he wanted to do on Twitter was give away shit. That is literally all he wanted to do, was just give things away to people. And as he was at training camp, you'd watch him just give hundreds to every person in sight. I don't know if there was a guilt that he felt that he had everything, or an obligation to give back to people. And I think that's why anytime there is a narrative about Jim outside of Indianapolis or outside of Indiana, you very rarely heard anybody here because of how much he's affected and helped literally any human he could have. He was one of the kindest people I've ever met. And when I retired, I went and talked to him before anybody else because we had a friendship. Obviously, he's the owner of the team. I'm punter of the team. It's not like we're best friends. He's living a much different life than I'm living. But anytime we talk to each other, there's real conversation, real moments. And I think he genuinely liked me as a player. I don't know how many people, but I felt obligated to go talk to him and let him know that I was going to retire and that I was done with this thing. And he took 2 hours basically just giving me game. Like, hey, are you going to be able to fire somebody? And I go, excuse me? He had this vape. And fucking big smoke coming out. He was a good vapor. I actually told him in that conversation, hey, you ever see those people that blow O's and shit? Like they do he goes, what? And I text him a link, and he's like, I think I could do that if I had enough time. Loved his vape. He said, do you think you could fire somebody? Because what you're signing up to do is run your own business. And he said, I don't know what Barstool is, but I will certainly try to learn as much as I possibly can. But from what it sounds like is you're going to be running your own business. You're going to be managing your own people. Are you going to be able to fire somebody? He was like, let me tell you about the first time I had to fire somebody. Let me tell you about being a 37-year-old owner. Let me tell you about mistakes that I've made. Let me tell you mistakes that the Beatles have made. Let me tell you mistakes that people from around the world that I've gotten to meet that have run companies. And because I am in the position that I'm in, I get a chance to learn. And he gave me 2.5 hours of just game on what I'm doing. And he said on the way out that if I ever needed anything, he'd be there to help me. And he said, I'm gonna help you succeed in this venture. And if you ever wanna stop or you get sick of doing it, you'll have a job here for life. Your family for us. And that was like a very comforting thing, obviously, to know like, okay, fallback plan, I can work for the Indianapolis Colts, I think. Like that was kind of a good mindset. And I just assumed he was saying all those things because I was in his presence. And then him following up with that through this business development that we have had and his care for our business and our show, he would be showing other people our show as if we were like his kids and like proud of what we did. And he would send me articles that he's come across that he thought I should read, whether it would be a leadership thing, a business thing, the future of media thing, things that are being said about that. I would just get a text message, maybe 3 a.m. sometimes, because who knows where the fuck he was in the entire world. Obviously has multiple planes, multiple houses, has the ability to live and do whatever the hell he wants. But he was always checking in. And he would hear something was going on with me. He would send me a motivational message. He would always come on our show, literally. He would ask to come on our show. And I just feel an obligation to let the world know that you might think things about Jim Irsay if you don't actually know him, but we lost a fucking legend in Jim Irsay. And our city will feel the effects of him not being here going forward. And here's Jim on our show doing his thing, showing the world exactly who he is, which is a compassionate, brilliant, wealthy legend. Rest easy, Jim. I fucking love you, man. Arriving in beautiful fashion.
There he is.
On a golf cart driven by another massive human being.
Another first
wearing
rounder.
a suit that is only top of the line. A man who walks around and hands out hundreds to people. A man that gives away more money than any other human you've ever encountered. A man who has paid for everything I have ever done. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Irsay.
My friends call me Jim, you can call me Jimmy.
Hey! Jimmy from the Colts!
Lolita, I love my friend. And there's nothing like this 57-year-old female killer southern orca whale is special now.
I'm frustrated with flying cars because I'm obsessed with that. Like I want a flying car.
Hey, me too.
I don't want this phone. Give me a flying car. You know? And I outbid them for Elvis piano. Believe that? Sometimes guys will get liquored up and go swimming in the Broad Ripple Canal.
Whoa!
Traffic. So they direct traffic in their underwear. Now, Pink Floyd calls that a momentary lapse of reason.
Lolita is mellow. She's a Buddhist. She hangs low. She's cool. She's happy.
But like Mars, think about this, is 250 million miles. 250 million miles. When you go, you know, it takes about anywhere from 9 to 11 months to get there, depending on the alignment.
Are you going to fucking Mars?
And so,
Jim, are you going to Mars? It sounds like you're...
I wish I was.
They go, well, I have these beautiful Monet paintings, but I have John Lennon's piano in the front room. What do you want to see? I want to see John Lennon's piano. I don't know.
I put on this Willy Wonka outfit about 12 years ago, and we had a treasure hunt in Indianapolis, and the winning team at halftime was given real Super Bowl rings.
You have to get them one at a time. Try to help anything in any way you can, one at a time. I've shut down a lot of Girl Scouts. Hey, here's $2,000. We're going home,
The only thing that beats everything is love. Love every time beats hate. Every time. If you come at hate with hate, it's not going to be good. You're going to get more hate.
I'm lucky to be a part of the Colts organization. Getting to know you has been a cool thing. Just know that I think, personally, as somebody who is a billionaire, you're doing good with your money. You're doing good with your time.
What could I say? This when you came to my office and told me your plan about retirement, I never thought we'd be sitting there and you'd be the mega star. Sorry for saying that, but it's true that you are. Your show and what you do and the entertainment you provide, is David Letterman type. It's at the very top. I always knew you had that potential, but man, what you've accomplished, we're so proud of you that you're a Colt alumni player. I mean, you represent.
I'm lucky. You helped me out a lot. Rest in peace, man. Obviously, sending nothing but positive vibes and love to his daughters, his grandkids, his, son-in-law, like his loved ones as a whole, his staff. There's a great group of people that have been around him for a very long time. and I got a chance to send them messages overnight, the Gormans. I mean, Scotty and Jeff have been with Jim for like 30 years. Pete Ward has been with Jim Irsay since Baltimore, let alone the training room that he has kept literally since Baltimore, the equipment staff, everybody. He takes care of his people. He's so loyal. And I have no idea how they are all feeling today and last night, but just know you guys all did good, man. Jim had a great group of people around him, and that's because he had a great eye for talent and he had a great aura. Rest in peace, Jim. I appreciate the shit out of you, man. I wondered if you would potentially say some things about Jim Irsay that maybe people outside of Indiana or people that maybe don't know him have ever heard, something that maybe they don't know about. I think you've been around the league. You've been to a lot of teams. You've been around for a long, long time. You know how teams operate. You've been and seen how other owners operate. Jim was special, and I appreciate you I appreciate you coming on and sharing some sentiments with the people.
Oh, you bet. I mean, the guy was just so special. I mean, I was blown away by the tweets and everything that went out by the former players. I think that just tells you what Jim was all about. This was at his birthday party a couple years ago here at Lake Oconee, and he invited me over. We had a great night. And, people don't realize, the game I missed in Baltimore after Chuck came back and I got sick. First thing Jim wanted to know was my wife there. And the guy said no. And within 2 hours, my wife was in the hospital with me. He sent a car. He sent a plane. That plane stayed on the ground for 3 days waiting for me to get out of the hospital and take me back to Indianapolis. And that's the kind of guy Jim is. Jim loved his players. He tried to mentor his players. He was the second team to ever hire mentors for his players. And it just meant so much to me to see what the players' reactions were to him. We all called him the boss because he was just a special, special dude and the most generous man I've ever known in my life.
Yes, I think that is something that, everybody assumes that people with a lot of money donate money. And I think everybody does because there are certain tax exemptions and there are things that you can kind of do. And I assume they're super uber wealthy people feel obligated to give money back in some sense. There's probably a percentage on what they're willing to give up of their value or net worth or whatever they're making every year. Jim didn't care about any of that. Actually, I have no idea how his accountant did it. I have no idea how his accountant would be able to keep up with everything that Jim did. And I know at those numbers, nobody cares, right? Oh, you're rich. And here's him with Chuck, obviously, and everything he did for Coach Pagano. That will never be able to be the amount of behind-the-scenes stuff that Jim Irsay is doing and the amount of cancer research now post this because he just learned about this community and was like, oh, I need to help this. And then mental health stuff, he learned about the community, I need to help this. And there's some buildings downtown Indianapolis that need to be renovated and put back together. Oh, I need to help this. Oh, there's these people that I know that it's just like that was every day for everything for him. There was even almost a damn whale that was put into a bomber plane.
Yeah.
Filled with water so that he could fly Tecate, Lolita, out of a aquarium in Florida to the Pacific Northwest, 7-hour flight, 7-8 hour flight, whatever it is. Wanted to fly a fucking whale.
With its friends.
With a couple, to get with its family on the other side, just because he learned of Tecate and was like, this is a Buddhist whale. This is a cool whale, man. This is not how this whale is supposed to end its life. So he's trying to figure out, he was going to have to spend, I think, like $15 million on this plane to turn it into an aquarium for a whale to get up in the sky and go. It's like, that was him with everything. And there's not a lot of humans that have ever been created that way, Coach. Not a lot of humans.
No. And, he was the shoe. He always talked about the shoe. And, me growing up in York, Pennsylvania, the Colts were my team. Johnny Nice was my idol. And to put on that uniform and put that shoe on as a coach meant so much to me personally. And it was a great 4 years. The 3 I had with Peyton and the 1 I had with Andrew. But I love the city. I love everything that the Colts stands for. And that's because of Jim Irsay.
Yeah, so now, obviously, the Indianapolis Colts are going to have to figure out what's next for their organization, for that family. I assume there's already been plans because of how the last few years have gone. We're obviously all not blind to any of that. I think last night came out of nowhere. I don't think I expected that at all, Coach. You?
No, not at all. It was a shock to me.
We all knew there was things going on. I don't know. I don't know who all knew what, to be honest. I think they were keeping a lot of things tight. I think they didn't want anybody to worry. I think that's another thing. Jim didn't want people to worry. So I think there was a lot more potentially going on than any of us, even the people that are maybe even closer to him than I. And I don't know if you like any of that stuff, but we all knew that. But still, whenever it was like jarring, it was like, holy shit. And then I immediately just started thinking about what a legacy this dude has left behind by the people that know him, you know? Everybody, to your point about the players, every player that said the same thing. Every friend of his has said the same thing. Every coach has said the same thing. It's like, this is maybe the most giving man that has ever existed. And it's like he understood the position he was in, and he tried to make it be a position that can make the world better. We're going to miss the shit out of him, Coach. We're going to miss the shit out of him.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. The NFL is going to miss him because he was a true steward of the game, historian of the game, and I thought Roger Goodell said it really well today about how much they're going to miss him in the league meetings, and because he loved the game. He grew up in the game, and it oozed from him every single time you met him. It was all about, the NFL protecting the shield and protecting the shoe.
I would get messages from people that were in his suites during games, and I would shank one. If I shanked one. Very rare. BA, you know that. You can attest to that. Very rare. Very real. Please.
Very rare.
Thank you. I took a lot of pride in that. Especially I knew offense coordinators and quarterbacks too. If I shank, Peyton taught me that early, I'm fucking him too. Because there's a much bigger spotlight on his failed first down if I am not. Because if you get a good one, it's like, just football happened. You hit a shank though, it's like, offense failed, bad punt, now they're in there. You can really, we can just keep the game rolling with no spotlight on anything bad if there's a good punt. I would get a text during the game from the people, and I would see it on my phone. Hey, can't be doing that to Jim. He's watching your punts, okay? I guess he threw a garbage can one time because I hit a shank, and I felt so terrible. And then he comes down afterwards into the locker room, always came down to the locker room afterwards, always. Yep. Before the game, after the game, always wanted to be with the boys, Yep. Never spoke, unless he was asked to. Had his own chair that they had, he had his own locker basically, but it was in the middle. Came down before every game, after every single game, just wanted to be in there, wanted to experience it. And we won the game, and I think I probably hit a couple bombs afterwards. Okay, you can't hit too many shanks in a row. You're going to get cut as a punter, especially if you have been arrested and you tweet a lot. So, I had a lot of things going against me. So I read that text before he got in, and I go, boss man, sorry about the shank. And he goes, yeah, but you got it back, and we needed it. And he knew, my net, and he knew, what it led to. He knew ball. He was a ball knower. But he wasn't scared to hire people and let them do their jobs either. He was a great leader. Now, granted, I think that has worked against him sometimes. Maybe somebody didn't do their job as well, and his loyalty maybe was a little bit too much, but it was all because of how he felt as everybody was a member of his family, Coach. That is literally how he treated everybody.
You were a member of his family. If you were on his staff, if you were a player, you're a member of his family, bro. Those Thursdays when Chuck was sick and in the hospital, those Thursday meetings with Jim were just amazing. We'd talk about Chuck every time and how he was doing, and then we would find out about, what do you think about this week? And I would tell him, I don't know how much of a chance we have, but, I do remember one game, and there was this one punt. All right, we're playing Jacksonville. I think the ball's a 32-yard line with 9 seconds left. I said, bro, just kick that bitch as high as you can out of the end zone. I got it, coach. It came down 1 yard in bounds. And that dude started running it back. I was going to kill you.
No. You wanted me to have a 12-yard net, brother. Okay, you wanted me to have a 12-yard net. I ain't got time. I ain't got time for a 12-yard net. But I understand the assignment. I understand. I understand the assignment. Coach, it was great to spend time with you in the Indianapolis Colts building. I know you are held in high regards, in high respect by everybody you've ever worked with, but certainly with the Colts. And thank you for making some time today to kind of share some thoughts on old Jimmy from the Colts.
Yeah, baby.
We appreciate you, man.
Here's to my man. Here's to the boss, baby.
Hey, cheers to you, Jim. We appreciate the hell out of you. Coach Arians, you're the man, ladies and gentlemen. Super Bowl champion, legend, Bruce Arians. Thank you,
BA.